Okay. Yo. We're gonna watch a Sydney Watson video. We're gonna have a little bit of fun. Alright, I'm ready. What is this? Disney admits it needs white actresses. Hating white people is bad for business? Wow! Being racist to anybody is not a nice thing to do? That's crazy! Wow! I would have never thought. Oh wait, white isn't a race. You're right. Maybe it's okay to say it. Yeah.
My ongoing question all of the time is, why are they like this?
Because they're mean and horrible, ugly people. That's why.
Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome back to hell. And this video is exclusively sponsored by my company, Lions Tea Exchange, because as you all know...
Tea! Yes, queen! Hey, excuse me, I was watching that. Hello? I was watching that.
Tea Exchange, because as you all
Did my internet die? What the hell? Chat, are you there?
I have a ton of tea that is expiring at the end of November,
Sorry.
although tea doesn't really expire because it's a dried item. But I am running a 50% off sale on my site for Earl Grey, New York Breakfast, and Emerald Green using the code WeDon'tWaste.
That was
so
YouTube.
many of you are incredibly cool and epic because you have helped
die.
me clear so much of this. I hate throwing tea away. I hate throwing product away.
That's valid.
So thank you for those of you who've ordered so far. For those of you who haven't, give it a try. I promise it is good. And for the churches and cafes that have reached out to me about taking some tea, I promise I haven't forgotten you. It's just me. So it takes me a second to get through everything. Lastly, my 3 winter flavors are back in stock. So we have bourbon barrel chai,
I like
peppermint
tea.
white
Chad,
chocolate,
you like tea?
and
I do.
apple cider. The peppermint white chocolate is by far my favorite, but a bunch of you guys really like the bourbon barrel chai. I don't blame you. It tastes pretty.
As a tea drinker, I need to try this. Well, you're supporting a right-wing Nazi by giving Sydney money.
Dang good.
That's
Those
what the
are also on the
detractors would say.
website, ready to be drunk by all of you. That is all. Link in the description. Let's do the video. Now, we have talked a lot on this channel about Disney and its many, many failings. But I am personally of the hope that the company will eventually learn to pull its butt out of its butt. And maybe that day is today. Who's to say? Doing lots of fun rhymes. Now, some of you may or may not remember, but back in early 2025, Disney decided to stop production of its live-action adaptation of the film Tangled, which was originally released in 2010. For those of you who don't know,
Wait. Have we watched this before? Am I having a schizo? Wait. Have I watched this with you guys before? Chat, please correct me really quick. I'm actually confused. I don't remember watching this before. I don't think we have. Okay, I trust you guys. I'm having really weird deja vu. Okay, sorry. I'm like really fried. Okay, let's keep going.
Food is Disney's version of Rapunzel, and it's very cute. And I like the horse Maximus, and Mother Gothel is kind of a vibe. I don't know what to tell you.
I like her solo. The one where she's like, you know, doing the solo with her in the chair. Mother knows best.
The original film did reasonably well with audiences, grossing almost $600 million, which is likely why Disney decided it would take a run at it as its next remake victim. However, I do always love when there's a however. After their remake of Snow White fell in an absolute heap this year, Disney finally got the message, it seems, that people were over the whole live-action adaptation thing. And more specifically, live-action adaptations that have improperly cast lead actresses and creepy CGI people.
I will never understand why they couldn't just hire actors that look like dwarves. I feel like that's just the most appropriate move. This looks like so uncanny to me. Weird.
What am I looking at here? I also have to add for the 40th time at this stage that I don't quite understand what's live action about a film that is still majority animated. I don't like this. Anyway, Disney went ahead and decided to pause Tangled, which weirdly enough brought relief to a bunch of people. There are entire Reddit threads of people celebrating. I'm not sure what to make of this, but you know, it's here on the internet for you to see. And to some, of course, the timing of this poll was a little bit weird because number one, if you don't have anything to hide, then why hide anything at all? Which is why there was also a ton of speculation that this Rapunzel would have been anything but white. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your braids, I guess, maybe. I don't know, leave me alone. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, throw us your weave.
You know what they should have done? Made her bald and been like, her hair is part of the patriarchy. Therefore, if she has really long hair, that's like discriminatory against people who don't have hair. Yeah, just make her straight up bald.
Maybe. Which, you know, you can't blame people for making that assumption, given Disney's recent track record. How did this man produce this many different racial children?
I never watched this. Wowee. He must have plowed a lot of women, huh? He didn't have just one mom. Yeah, a lot of diverse mermaids in the ocean. Yeah, the Neptune harem. He didn't care about race. Very diverse.
And please explain this to me. And honestly,
he's got a lot of game,
too far off base, given that black actress Francesca Rivers was potentially going to play Rapunzel in the remake of Tangled. Now, the reason that I don't want to harp on this too much is because it was completely speculative. I could not find any good or trustworthy sources reporting on this.
That's valid.
And it may just well have been an internet rumor, but it does go to show that people have been subjected to this so much that they fully believed that Disney would be so crazy as to cast this woman in this role, which obviously makes zero sense.
And people come out of the woodwork and say it's racist, but I really don't think anyone truly cares about the race. They care about the double standard. The people that are like crying that you didn't go see Snow White or that you were mad about The Little Mermaid are the same people that have like a nuclear meltdown about anime, for example, with the My Hero Academia character Mirko, I think, being drawn in a different lighting by the creator of the anime. You guys know what I'm talking about? The really overexposed image of the character with brown skin. And because she was overexposed and that was like the choosing of the lighting, they freaked out on Twitter trying to get the author canceled. The person who made the anime! Like, I think the answer has always been extremely simple. Leave established stories alone. If the story has a black character, leave them black. If it's white, leave them white or whatever. Because everybody knows that no creative director either is like swapping the race of any character in any story ever because they think it will improve the show. They're swapping the race of the character for social justice and virtue signaling and nothing more. It's always been that simple.
Number two, it's like Snow White was not the first remake at all to fail, so if its failure was so big that it caused the company to reevaluate, well, I have some questions around that. Why go back to doing remakes at all? I don't know.
I'm so sick of remakes.
Disney are just, they're money grubby,
sick of
guys.
them.
They're very money grubby. But because it's the modern era, and despite fans and viewers begging for new well-written content and stories and productions, Hollywood has apparently learned nothing, and instead Tangled is back on the books. But apparently it will be different this time. According to Hollywood insider Matthew Baloney, Disney is about to cast new Rapunzel in the revived live-action remake Tangled, and I'll bet you the price of that long-braided wig that the gig will go to a white actress. This is
after dumping DEI amid woke fury. I don't think it was woke fury, it was just a lack of money. Like, I'm gonna be real, man.
This is what he wrote. That's a quote. Sorry if that wasn't clear. The headline I also have on screen here is much more succinct, which says, Disney is set to hire a white actress to star in its latest reboot after dumping DEI amid woke fury. also accurate. I mean, yeah, you'd think so, given that
Woke
Rapunzel's whole
fury.
story is around her being blonde.
The woke fury being our stocks going down because people aren't seeing our movies that much anymore compared to, what, 20 years ago? What a shocker.
With long hair, and typically white people are blonde. I don't know about the long hair part, but definitely
And Rapunzel's a German story, is it not?
blonde part. Same with redheads. Oh, I forgot. We don't care about things like that anymore. Ignore me. Full disclosure, all of this is speculative at this stage, but Baloney adds, oh my god, I just realized that his name sounds like bologna. Like the food bologna. It's not spelled like that. but that's all I can think of now. Anyway, yeah, so he adds that he got his hands on an internal email distributed within Disney, which basically said that it was disbanding its DEI initiatives, and the company intended to empower everyone instead of select groups. Okay, better late than never, I guess. In short, Baloney said that Disney is...
You know who else was German? Actually, not even Hitler. He was Austrian. Yeah, you are not allowed to say that.
very afraid of Trump and Elon and the culture war that it is currently losing. Can't imagine for the life of me why they'd be losing the culture war. Baloney...
Weird.
Baloney? Baloney? Baloney also gave a bunch of examples of the ways Disney has recently shifted away from its diversity initiatives, gutting film development areas that might get the company into trouble, removing its Reimagine Tomorrow website that served as a hub for diversity initiatives, and I will assume she'll probably be an accurate-looking Rapunzel. At least as far as the Tangled movie goes. Which oddly shouldn't be controversial, but it is, because, I don't know, I guess everything is dumb and irrational. The bottom line is that apparently after getting kicked repeatedly in the head by audiences and having horrifically bad performing movies and content, Disney is finally somewhat leaning into what people have been asking for. Or in the very...
For good quality Disney movies from 20 years ago. Yeah, I know. It's insane what like people not going to the movies will do to a company, and you not making money when you invest millions and millions of dollars into an IP. I know, it's wild.
At least their pockets hurt enough that they have finally realized that what they're doing is not working. That being destroying beloved classics, race-swapping characters left and right, getting overly political, and appealing to the activists outside and inside their company, which is obviously a failing initiative. And now they're making an attempt to purge all the things that got them in hot water over the last little while and led to the numerous and catastrophic box office failures that they've had.
Where's the audience, man, to watch this?
And obviously, Disney isn't just doing this with relation to its princess films. Some of you might remember a video I made towards the end of August where I told you all that Disney was on the hunt for new original IP in an effort to win back or win over, maybe for the first time, Gen Z men. Yes, the very demographic they have been calling racist and sexist for years now. Yes, it is a true mystery why the menfolk are not interested.
Oh, what? Not having characters that are relatable to men in the movies that you were trying to cater them to. I'm gonna be real. When I was a little kid, if I saw a video game with a girl in it, it automatically made me excited. I'm sure that little boys feel that same way about movies and, like, you know, video games in general. You grow up and that might shift a little bit because you're not a child anymore and you're an adult with, like, actual opinions and, like, life experiences. But at the end of the day, like, the audiences are still largely symmetrical. Like, oh, you know, if it's a man in a movie, I might go see it depending on what the man does. If the man's attractive, I'll probably go see it because I'm straight.
Truly, I am shocked. Again, the revelation was extremely ironic, given the nature of the two major male-orientated media properties Disney controls, that being Star Wars and Marvel. And maybe Indiana Jones to a lesser extent? Do we still like him? Is that still like the collective thing? Do people like him? I mean, I do.
They shit all over his character in the new movie that they made. They made him, like, basically kind of like a pussy.
Eddie Jones can grace my television screen anytime he wants.
Wait, I'm glitching?
The young version.
Oh, no, I'm fine.
That one with the hat and the, you know, the
80s! The 80s Harrison Ford.
Watch that video where I actually go over this, I will happily link that in the description box for all of you, so you can watch that in your own time. But jokes aside, looking at these two things side by side, the desire to appeal to young men with new written content, new made content, and realizing that race swapping isn't working, and in remakes it's important to stay true to the characters as they originally appeared, it really does seem like...
And having a well-written character.
Something is shifting over at Disney, and although there will be naysayers who say that's not really happening, if we think about it from a real business standpoint and not just an activism standpoint, it makes sense that Disney would be shifting with the times, and times are changing. Everybody is aggressively moving away from wokeism and progressivism. And you guys know this because I have been talking about this a ton on this channel, all of the areas where we are seeing a very aggressive shift away from progressive leftist ideologies and values and moving.
But then that pendulum will swing too far and then we're back to square one. Mark my words, chat!
More towards the center, or in some cases aggressively swinging to the right.
Hey! She even
We're
said
always
it.
on the pendulum, children.
Yep.
Because I have talked
said
about
this a
Disney
million
a ton,
times.
I'm always reticent to go over all ground, but there are still a few points that I want to reiterate or maybe make for the first time. It's hard to say. So sorry if I'm repeating myself. The news is in fact one giant Groundhog Day.
Don't mess with
It's a loop.
I'm not sure how to word this, so you'll have to bear with me, but I do think it's both hilarious and sad that casting a white actress in the role of Rapunzel would be some sort of pearl-clutching moment for people at the company. Like,
It's just a terminally online schizos that they listen to and try to cater to because they think that the loudest audience on social media will always like be the ones that watch the movies. It's like, no, the average Joe Schmo that just wants to take their kid after school on a Friday going to watch a movie and he wants to turn off his brain, and if something comes up that he has to explain or over-explain to his child, he's gonna remember that.
they're doing something naughty that's gonna get them in trouble. Like they put their little creepy fingers in the cookie jar while Mother's back was turned and they weren't allowed to do that. I think the thing here is that if the disease of forced diversity has infiltrated your company so much so that you feel weird and not right about casting white women,
Katie
white
scared me,
actresses
Jesus.
into roles that they are
Cat jumped in the window, it scared me. Sorry.
appropriate for, and you feel bad about that for reasons, that's a big old problem, kids. Especially given that the fairy tale Rapunzel was originally recorded by the Brothers Grimm, and it was set in Germany.
It was aren't the Brothers Grimm Dutch, and it was set in Germany? Rapunzel, Rapunzel.
And originally published in the early 1800s.
Yeah.
Ergo, she is white, and yes, she is blonde.
No!
Because, you know, that part is very explicitly stated. I was gonna torture you all once again by horrifically mispronouncing this fairy tale's original title, but I think the original title is actually just Rapunzel, so,
Yeah, it's Rapunzel.
no weird German out of me today.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of Germans in my comments
Were they
a couple
Dutch?
months
I don't
back
remember.
when I tried to say Snow White.
Oh, Grimm Brothers are German? I thought they were Dutch. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter, regardless.
In the original German as the original German title, and so many people just said, I don't know what this is. Please never do that again. But I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it correctly. Are you ready? You better be ready. Hold your butt.
Schneewittchen.
Oh, she's trying to stay Snow White! Schneewittchen!
Schneewittchen. So you almost have to sound like you have a lisp.
Schneewittchen.
Schneewittchen.
What is that?
Schneewittchen.
Schneewittchen.
That was pretty good. I'll give her that. That was not terrible.
Perfect. This
wasn't
is
bad. It
insane
was
and
good.
bizarre. I don't know how any of you speak this language. Anyway, back
I
to
like German.
Rapunzel.
It's very
Even
bureaucratic.
Disney originally designed the character as
Mother
white,
knows
which
best.
makes sense
Mother
given
knows
everything
best.
here. And as most of you probably know by now, I personally am a stickler for adaptations that stay true to characters, their appearances, their personalities, their behaviors. It's not very frequent or often that I think that big changes to a character actually work. I mean, sometimes they do, but not really all that often. And I think goes to show that when Disney stays true to their original source material, films do really well. Because as I have said previously, a remake comes with a certain set of expectations, and there's a tremendous amount of disappointment that comes up when those expectations aren't met. For example, the 2015 Cinderella remake with Lily James did pretty well.
Yeah.
And a lot of you, it's so funny, whenever I talk about
I don't
this,
think it was marketed very well, but it did do pretty well in terms of like being sold on DVDs. I think we had a copy actually.
a lot of you get in my comments and are like, Sydney, the Cinderella remake wasn't so bad. And actually,
and then the animals actually looked really cute and not weird at all, even though they were CGI. Oh, that's crazy.
wasn't so bad. And actually, part of the reason why we liked it is because it wasn't, a shot for shot. It really expanded on the Cinderella storyline in a great way. And
I think it even expanded on the story of the prince rather than him just being like a... You know how Disney portrays princes? It's kind of like they're a side character. They're not like super important. In this movie, I'm pretty sure, because I had it on DVD, if I remember correctly, it's been a long time, they actually like made him seem just like an average Joe Schmo. Yeah, and it was nice because it's like they usually don't do that. It was alright.
it's great. I agree with you. I do think there are better remakes, but I'm glad that you guys like this one. Point being here, she was blonde, blue dress, glass slippers, the whole package, and the film ended up grossing $540 million because it gave fans the magic that they were sort of expecting. And
yeah, if you want like a really average Joe Schmo movie, it was pretty good.
I know that a lot of people
It was,
liked that, like I
amazing
said,
or
it
anything.
built on her story and also the story with the prince
the
and gave
CGI
him
is
a little
so
bit more
good.
dimension, which is missing from the original animated film. Same with the recent Lilo and Stitch film, which I know disappointed a ton of people because of the storyline and,
And you want to know the best part? The actress that played, I forget her name. God, it's escaping me. But anyway, they casted characters that were from Hawaii, and the people on Twitter were saying that, yeah, Nani and the little girl looked too white. They actually, like, got mad at them and said, oh, they're not brown enough. And it's like the actress came forward, or someone did, one of her PR people said, she's actually, like, from Hawaii. Like, she's from the mainland. No, she's not from the mainland. Like, she lived there. And they're like, no, she's not brown enough. She's getting whitewashed. It's like, oh my god, nothing's ever good enough for you freaks.
So I'm not really going to comment on this because I don't know. But I know that the film did do
Yeah, I'm sure they went to go
well
watch
at
the
box
movie
office.
anyway.
And despite there being criticisms of the characters, particularly Nani, I do think that they look pretty good, all things considered. Compare this to Snow White, which lost $300 million, or The Little Mermaid, which barely hit $570 million. Way less than Aladdin and The Lion King, which stuck close.
And the CGI just sucked. Like, look at this fish, man. It doesn't look like a cute cartoon fish.
Closer to their roots. I think the thing here is that fans are not dumb for the most part, and we know when a company's pandering. And when said company keeps changing a character's core traits, the audience stops trusting them, because it's like, what's next?
I don't even think the audience is that smart. The average audience just realizes that something isn't entertaining. Their brain doesn't get, the dopamine and the endorphins that it would get from paying for $20 for a movie ticket between two people. And then they come out of the movie and they're like, that wasn't really worth it. And then they just don't really want to watch the next Disney movie because it's like, why would I waste my money on that? I don't think it's about them being like, damn, this movie's virtue signaling. It's just that flat non-enjoyment.
Simba going to be a chihuahua.
Like, yeah, some
I will
people
also
do, but,
reiterate
you know,
for
I'm just saying the
4th
average person
time
probably
that
not.
it is insane that it took Disney this long to admit that it's actually bad to hire people based on diversity alone and to kind of be subversive and put people in positions where they don't make sense because you're trying to push an agenda rather than hiring those people because they are great at what they do, it's merit-based, or they just happen to suit a role and they're also a good actor or actress. Hiring Rachel Zegler for diversity points is basically what capsized the
And
film.
she's not even a good actress. That's what really hurts. It's like people can usually overlook, you know, stupid ass statements most of the time if your acting is really good, but she's just really not.
She turned out to be insufferable and has tainted everything about this. That and the storyline made absolutely no sense, but you know,
Which she admitted that she actually had a part in, and she altered the story. Why would you admit to that? Why would you ever say that? It's like, okay, you took the L, right? Why would you double down and be like, oh, well, actually, I did have a hand in changing the story. I know it sucked, and you guys just don't get it.
It's okay. That's very 2025 coded. I also don't know how anybody can argue that it is not in fact discriminatory and racist to us pale-skinned folk while also being bigoted towards minorities for forcing them to believe that they can't get roles or get ahead in this industry without preferential treatment. Movies with non-white people do well. This is it's not that deep or
what the hell happened to Black Panther? What about Blade, the main guy? I remember when I was a little kid, my brother got Blade on the DVD, and he immediately got my dad's trench coat like that night and started like running around the house with that trench coat with glasses on and being like, I'm Blade. And I was like, that's fucking sick. I was like a little kid, but you know, he got it on the DVD and we watched it together with my parents. I wasn't really allowed to. They like, you know, ushered me out because it was like an R18 movie, but they let my brother watch, and it was like the freaking goat. It was cool. He's a cool character.
Mulan, classic film. They screwed up the remake because of course they did, and they removed my boy Shang, but that doesn't matter. The original Mulan did insanely well. Lilo and Stitch.
I loved Mulan when I was a kid.
Did insanely well despite the
I'm not even like Asian, just loved it.
There's a bunch of there's a bunch of these things that have happened. Moana, another one, great film, did extremely well. I'm sure that the remake, I'm pretty sure they're doing a remake.
Why are they making a remake? Moana came out what, like 9 years ago? What? It's
gonna do probably extremely well. The race swapping is unnecessary, and it really seems like Disney is
it's been 9 years
onto that fact, even if they're cottoning onto it under duress. Like I have said a number of times in the past, and honestly, like basically everybody who talks about film and entertainment and whatnot has also said, people are right now dying for fresh new content. They are dying for new and interesting and well-written stories. Well-written is very important. They want to see movies that are doing something new. They don't just want to see endless remakes and reboots and sequels. And here's the kicker. Here's the thing that apparently the entertainment industry doesn't seem to understand. People don't care if the lead of that movie or those movies is black or white or Asian or a bag of sand. They don't care.
True.
So long as it's good. But as long as Disney
and then the people that try to shame you and say like, oh, well, you don't like the writing just because they're black or you're lesbian or whatever, and those ones are the ones that are the detractors that try to make you look stupid. It's like, no, I just don't like it. No, it's because they're black. It's because they're lesbian. What's that got to do with anything? It's just bad writing, period. It's like the defense of someone who's disabled or something, walks into a store, shits all over the floor, and then they say, oh, well, you know, just because you're disabled, you're not allowed to be criticized. It's so sad. People acting like dickheads and making excuses like because they have like a, what is it called? A tag to hide behind. No, it doesn't matter. You're just a dick.
particular, because obviously Disney's a really big player, is determined to keep giving us remakes,
unacceptable
then personally,
behavior is
I'm really glad that
unacceptable.
they have finally realized that giving us race-swapped characters and DEI initiatives and basically butchering stories is just not going to fly anymore with audiences. And again, and I feel like this is fairly obvious, there is a big distinction between taking that which already exists and making it better, like Disney did with Cinderella. A lot of people seem to think and believe that. That sounded like I was throwing shade at you guys. I'm really not. I'm really glad that you liked it, and I agree. I think that building on, you know, the princess storyline was a good thing. Anyway, there's a big difference between doing that and taking that which already exists and going haywire with it. Unfortunately, I really do think that navigating the world of remakes will always be hard, because there are so many potholes to step in, there are so many faux pas to be made, and even when a remake is executed as well as it possibly could be, people are often still quite unhappy.
And this is obviously not even exclusive to Disney. You can see this like phenomenon in like Twitch, and you can see it on like Reddit and Blizzard, Activision. Like what happens is like a ton of ideologically captured schizophrenic Reddit mod types like infiltrate every single piece of media and entertainment that they also grew up and loved, right? And then because they've been like told by the most level-headed, non-terminally online sane people to fuck off, they decide to point out an outrage at like the marketing teams and HR departments. It's such a stupid thing to do. And the problem is that nobody realizes at the time you can't ever give in to their demands, because then they shift the goalposts. You'll never sate them. It becomes like an endless purity test. You won't make them happy. They'll never tell you that anything you do is enough, because outrage is their weapon in that sense as well. If they stop being mad, then they don't have anything to threaten you with. And then they lose their job. They don't have the ability to like cancel you and then ruin your business. You know? And then like dominoes, you know, the domino effect. Every single major media company, corporation, like Disney, game dev, everyone just crumbles. And the only reason we're reversing course now is because consumers put their foot down and said, I'm taking my money somewhere else. Like, if consumers had never put their foot down and didn't buy the product, and even more so, made videos about how bad it is, or, like, made comments, or sent letters to the CEO, condemned the corpos for, like, letting this happen, we would still be on that course, in my opinion. They don't care if the game has rainbows in it or not. They only care if it makes money. We saw that so many times with Blizzard, where they like have characters that used to just have absolutely no personality or any story, and then they made them gay, and then they removed it in Saudi Arabia when the game launched over there. It's like they don't actually care about you. And that's what I really want to like get out there. They're realizing, like, this quote-unquote super-duper woke nonsense Twitter outrage isn't gonna sell. It doesn't really matter if the people with flags in bio are mad at them on Twitter, because, like, 100% of the time, they're gonna end up bankrupt. If you're gonna have, like, your existing consumer base, which is, like, Disney, but Disney's been around for a long time, for 100 years now or something, they ditch your game, your movie, and then meanwhile, the freaks on Reddit that aren't even gonna go watch the movie anyway or consume your media are gonna try and cancel you, and then you become bankrupt and it's over. And this thing is so sad and stupid. You just shit all over a thing that people used to love.
So couple this very clear reality with the fact that Disney is intent on pushing this DEI agenda, and I really do hate the term DEI, but I think it applies here.
Yeah, I hate it too, because I think it's a cop-out. I think it's just like a way to people dismiss something. It's like, oh, well, DEI this, DEI that. It's like, you do realize that people will very likely change the name and just relabel it to something else as well. They've been already starting to do that with Sweet Baby Inc. They relabeled themselves as, like, DEI, pro-DEI, to, like, a different word. I forget what it was, but it doesn't matter.
It's a recipe for disaster. However, I am glad that they're finally seeing that. I'm glad that hopefully they are realizing that this is a losing issue, that we are moving very much away from all the things that they've been trying to do over the last number of years. And if they stay on their current trajectory of all of the weird tolerance and representation and unnecessary race swapping, it's probably not going to do them so well as time goes on. In the end,
I don't think it has anything to do with like them realizing it's bad. If I had to wager a guess, I think the problem with DEI for like major companies is that it was essentially kind of like a soft Pandora's box. Like, once you open it, you can't shut it kind of thing. And the reason I say soft is because they aren't 100% fucked once they start doing, like, DEI policies. They just kind of sort of soft lock themselves for a long time. What I mean is, like, let me explain. When you start hiring DEI hires, you essentially trap yourself into keeping these miserable people that are gonna cry and bitch and claim you're racist if you don't capitulate to their demands. Because if you fire those people, now you're getting called racist and canceled, so you have no out. It's kind of like game over for you at that point. And the only way that you get to reverse the course is, as I stated previously, you get to the point where the culture war pendulum has swung so far, or at least past the center point, that your shitty DEI remakes are flopping and costing you millions and millions of dollars, which makes investors very unhappy. Only then can you start to fire the people that are ruining your company, because it's like, oh, well, you cost me a lot of money, go fuck yourself, you know? Like, people can't really hide behind that. People still cry, obviously, but yeah. Like, financial ruin and bankruptcy, if it's certain enough, and if you continue down this path, people get it, like, but then the people getting canceled by blue-haired herons on Twitter is, like, only a possibility after you start getting rid of them, if that makes sense. I think that.
I am extremely interested, and I'm not just saying that, I really mean it. I am extremely interested to see what Disney does going forward.
It's a full-stand bargain.
Wokeness falls away, as it realizes that many of its initiatives just don't hit with audiences anymore, and as times really do start to change. Now, on that note, and before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder to check out my little tea company, Lions Tea Exchange, using the link in the description. Use code WeDon'tWaste for 50% off Earl Grey, New York Breakfast, and Emerald Green. Please help me get rid of these flavors so I don't have to throw anything away. And also check out the new winter flavors. I promise you won't regret it. They are extremely good. Now, I open the floor to all of you. What do you all think? Is it surprising to you that Disney is kind of going down this anti-DEI road?
No,
maybe I'm getting ahead of myself.
Shifting.
Is it surprising that they're starting to kind of turn away from DEI? That they're starting to think, hey, maybe this doesn't work so
they're
well?
losing
Do you think
money?
that it's because audiences don't relate to what they've been putting out? Do you think it's a bottom line issue? Do you think they're just hiring people within the company who are not progressive and are not closet activists? What do you think of this Rapunzel remake? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Should we just completely park all of the remakes and stop doing this?
There's plenty of musicians out there that just absolutely, like, have an opinion on something. They just don't parade it on social media. They might, like, donate to a cause. They don't make a big deal out of it. They don't scream on social media from the top of their lungs. Like, I'd say with things like acting and musicians and, to a lesser extent, like, filmmakers and any other job that's, like, more creatively oriented, that spreads through a massive audience, like both right, left, center, whatever. I think, like, people back in the day, this might be a surprise to some people. I'm kind of going on a tangent again, but actors back in the 1950s absolutely were involved in politics. But you know what the funny part is that because information and social media was very slow, and it also didn't exist back then, it was only through newspapers, TV, and radio, people didn't really literally know that their favorite not voice actor, their favorite actor was super duper involved in politics. Like maybe they openly voted for someone. It just wasn't like a thing for people to care about. But now that social media is a thing and people are realizing that everybody can have a voice and an opinion on everything, they also want everyone to have an opinion on every single thing. And when you don't take a stance on something, it makes people upset. It's like the other side of the coin.
People are not interested. And what do you generally make of this issue overall? As always,
Yo,
if you have
Postal,
made it this far in the video,
1,000 biddies, I
congratulations.
appreciate
I
it.
always like having you along for the full ride. If you are new here and you're not subscribed already and you would like to see more of me and more of this kind of content, feel free to subscribe to the channel as well as leaving this video a like and a comment because I do read the majority of them and I like hearing your feedback. Like I always say, I hope you wonderful little chickadee people stay safe and well
I'm a
and make
chickadee.
good choices and go to the gym, go get fit, kiss your spouse, hug your dogs, love your kids.
Whoa.
And I will see you
That's a
wonderful
lot. I don't
little
know if I wanna do
chickadees
that.
in the next video.
That sounds pretty gay. That was a good video. Lots of yapping and food for thought. Chad, I'm sorry if I'm all over the place. I'm like heckin' really tired today. I feel like my brain was like slowly processing the video and then my brain was lagging behind a bit.